Hi, welcome back to My Mother's Diaries. We are so excited to share our second episode, Beauty Pageant Blooper, with you, and you'll see why we named the episode that. We get into all of the cringy details of Claude's misadventures, this crazy 24 hours essentially at USM, and more. And we added a little treat at the end of this episode for you. If you're watching on YouTube, there is also a visual with it that I think is pretty funny. The recording may sound a little weird. We're still just DIYing this all on our own, so if there are some bumps or weird vocal things, we're sorry. I am learning and hoping to make this a better journey for your ears and mine, because I have to listen to this about 30 times as I edit it. All right, let's just get into it. April 17th, 1973, 9 a.m. I am wearing my peasant dress and white shoes so that I can practice walking. As soon as I get out of this class, I have to go to Russell Hall to practice, ... Nylons, eyelashes, nail polish, hair ribbons. I bet you Stacy wins. She's got the poise, figure, talent. Oh, I think she's lacking in personality. But who am I to say? So nervous. I wish I could escape till Wednesday, midnight. I can't believe that I'm going to be in a pageant. I'm such a clod. At first I thought that if I was one of the 5 finalists, the question part would be the hardest. I no longer believe that. Compared to all the other walking, stopping stuff, that will be easy. I don't have to worry anyhow. I'll never make it to the finalists.
No kidding.
I have never been so scared in my life. It's 10:08 a.m. Oh, one thing. I'm contestant number 4. That's the only point in my favor, because 4 is my lucky number. Wait, this took you an hour and 8 minutes to write?
No, I'm always multitasking.
Yeah. I just like the idea of this, one paragraph taking you that long.
No, I was not trying to finesse it either. I was just trying to capture the moment.
Yeah, I love that. Wow, that pretty much sums you up as a person, I think.
In what way?
Just all of it. Doing this, terrifying thing, that is, there's some sort of confidence that comes with doing, just the act of doing that. But I guess you did it for attention.
I don't know why I did it.
But you got, okay.
I guess I probably did it for attention, but really, what was I thinking?
I don't know, because I absolutely would never, you could not catch me in a beauty pageant, ever. Except for that one time when I was 5 in a fashion show dressed as a crayon. I think that was about as beauty pageant as it got for me.
You were cute and colorful.
Yeah. So, should we dive into your beauty pageant past?
Beauty pageant past.
Your beauty pageant past. The one and only beauty pageant you ever did.
Or as I said on the TikTok, the disastrous beauty pageant.
Disastrous beauty pageant. And you can say that because it was pretty...
It was pretty disastrous.
You could say that. What am I saying?
I don't know.
I feel like I'm putting on a radio voice.
So, it was 1973. Mm-hmm. And it was in the spring, near April. And I just remembered as I'm saying these little details, I need to get to the point faster on these podcasts, I think.
I don't know. The details are nice.
Okay. But, just let me know if I'm rambling.
We went to the Moth last night and heard all these amazing stories, and then cut to us driving home, and we start listening to our own podcast, too, because we forgot what we've talked about on any of them. And I was like, this has got to be the most boring story I've ever heard. But no, it was funny. It just ended up.
We aspire to be as good as the moth speakers. They
were amazing. It was such a good show.
Yeah.
But okay, back to the beauty pageant. I have diagnosed ADHD, and I'm pretty sure she has undiagnosed ADHD. So the tangents will. If you're listening to this, you've already listened to our first one, hopefully, and you already know it's going to be chaotic.
I'll try to unravel the chaos. So it's April 1973. I'm 20, and I'm in college and part of a sorority, Alpha Zeta Delta, and getting through college like a typical. Let's see, I was a sophomore, like a typical sophomore in the 70s. You know, things were going pretty well, and
except for when you fell in that ditch.
Except for when I fell in the ditch.
Pageant? I think
that was the first week of college when I was taking a walk with a guy, and the next thing you knew, I was in the ditch. But anyway, kind of like my beauty pageant story. Next thing I know, I was metaphorically in the ditch. Yeah, I was going to say
you're pretty much in the ditch.
Yeah. So when one of my sorority sisters came up to me and said, I have to ask you a question, but you have to say yes. And I'm like, okay.
That's never a good
no
sign. Like, no. It immediately makes me want to say no. Like, don't tell me how to answer this.
Right. That should have been a warning. But as Hillary has indicated, perhaps I was interested in getting attention at the time.
Well, I only indicate that because from the little I know about this beauty pageant, I know that you were submitted by a frat.
Right. So this fraternity, Phi Mu Delta, needed a contestant for the beauty pageant. This is how the the pageant was set up. So different fraternities and sororities had to have their own representatives in the pageant. And I thought there were 12 people in the pageant, but what did I figure? There were 8 of us in the pageant?
I think there were 8.
Yeah.
Oh, 9.
9. Yeah. Okay, there were 9. And so anyway, she asked me and said that they wanted to sponsor me as their candidate, a contestant. And this was not that far before the actual event. I would say it was like 3 or 4 weeks before the actual event. And so I thought about it for a little bit. I didn't tell my roommates at the time or my friends because I knew they'd be like, what are you doing?
Did any of them go?
So, yes.
I was just talking about how I just don't want anyone I know anywhere I'm doing anything live. Just don't.
Yeah.
It's like hard. So much more nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Because
you'd almost rather have an anonymous
They're not
audience.
afraid to tell you how it is. Right. I guess the anonymous world isn't either. So, whatever. Yeah. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
And here we are on a podcast.
Yeah.
Letting it
spilling all the tea.
Yeah. So, I said yes. And I still don't know why I said yes, except for, as Hillary is analyzing me, that I needed attention. Or wanted attention, or whatever.
You're making
was
me
flattered.
sound really bitchy.
No, I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. So, I'm really sorry.
I'll never forgive you.
So, I said yes, and hurriedly tried to figure out what I was going to do in terms of a bathing suit.
Can I ask... Well, sorry, I'm interrupting you.
That's all right.
But can I ask what your relationship with beauty pageants was beforehand? Did you know anything that was involved with beauty pageants? Did you know what to expect?
Well, yes, because I even have in my diary, I hadn't told you this before, I used to watch beauty pageants, and I even have in my diary where I'm like trying, I didn't have a life, clearly. I'm trying to figure out who's going to win, and I was rating them,
Yeah.
Miss California, Miss Texas, whatever. So
it's like your sports bracket.
Yeah.
That's the most sports you got.
So I knew, that's what I knew about beauty pageants. And one time in 1964, Annie, she wasn't in the beauty pageant, my mother, but she crowned a Miss Maine, I think, or something. So I had that. That's just a random aside.
Annie
That
crowned a Miss Maine?
Well,
Our God, we could do a spin-off series on my grandparents.
it might have been she crowned Miss Freeport, who was going on to be Miss Maine. But it's irrelevant to the story. But
is that how it works?
yeah, so you have,
like I could have been Miss Bucksport, Maine.
if I don't know how it works.
Miss Surrey, Maine. I could have.
Do you think I could have? Surrey.
Could I have run in every town I lived in Maine? Miss Old Orchard
have,
Beach.
You would have had a
Miss
lot.
Scarborough.
You would have had a lot of
moved to Tennessee and been Miss Collierville. That's probably. That's the real deal.
Yeah,
out there. Yeah.
So where were we?
Sorry.
I thought we weren't going into details.
I have no idea. I have so many questions.
So, I had to get a bathing suit.
Yeah.
I had to get an evening gown. I had to get a talent. All right?
You had to get a talent.
I had to get a talent.
You had to find a talent.
Yeah.
How much, like, from when you signed up to the actual pageant, how much time?
I think it was, like I said, I think it was like 3, maybe 4 weeks.
Ooh, yeah.
So it was a lot on me. At the same time, I was appearing in a play, and trying to finish up the semester with all my classes and stuff. So it was a stressful time.
Yeah.
And my sister found me a one-piece black bathing suit that was actually perfect. And I was really nervous about standing on stage in anything, let alone a bathing suit. And then somebody loaned me the gown, and I'm really not sure. I think it was the former Miss Maine, who I think was the former Miss Portland Gorham.
Portland Gorham?
Portland Gorham. It was called Portland Gorham, or University of Portland. It had several names.
Oh, because you were at USM. Okay.
Yeah, but it was at that point called, at one point it was called Pogo U.
What?
Yeah, Portland Gorham University.
It is now Pogo U to me forever. Pogo.
Yeah. And then they changed it to Portland Gorham, I think,
wow.
and then University of Southern Maine. It had several name changes. So, so I got the bathing suit, I got the gown, and I had to get the talent. Well, I knew what my talent was going to be because I like to write poetry.
Yeah. Do you hear my stomach growl?
At the thought of my poetry?
Yeah, it was like, no.
So I had taken some kind of oral interpretation class or something my freshman year.
What is that?
Well, it's where you orally interpret reading poetry and writings and those kind of things. I think it was called oral interpretation. Okay. So I think I had this poem that I had written for that class, which I hadn't told you this before. But so I thought it was a good choice. And I don't even know how I could say that with a straight face now. I said, well, I'll read my poem with some soft music in the background.
I wish this was documented.
I know.
Well, I wonder, I imagine kind of like an elevator music playing?
Yes, let's hope so.
Soft jazz, maybe.
I doubt it was jazz. I didn't remember the soft music playing in the background plan until I read my diary.
Well, would it have had to have been on a record player? Or like
maybe.
someone was there.
No. But remember, we did see in the program there were several accompanists. Accompanists.
Accompanical.
So maybe somebody was playing soft music in the background.
Yeah, I kind of love that.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
So they started practices.
Yeah.
Just a few days, maybe a week before the performance, and I think it was probably the second practice. I was so nervous, and the director, whom I later found out was actually in the pageant the year before, or had been in some pageants, she was the director of the pageant, And so she was starting out by teaching us how to walk. Now, let me tell you a little bit about my walk. Probably should show you, but I also have trouble getting up, so we won't be showing that at this point.
Well, you can make a TikTok of your walk. Do you have a black bathing suit? Jesus.
Oh my Lord.
We did just record a CPR Heimlich episode. We didn't perform a Heimlich or CPR. We just did an episode talking about it. Are you okay?
I'm okay.
The thought of me making you put on a black bathing suit to walk around for the internet was just threw you over the edge.
That did throw me over the edge. Oh my God, I forgot where I was. Oh, so the way I walk. So I have a distinctive walk. I've always had a distinctive walk. It's not graceful. And one time, in fact, I had a student say to me early in my teaching career, she said something to the effect of, I love coming to your class. And I'm like, oh, that's really nice. And she said, yes, I love to laugh when I watch you walk.
Oh my God.
Something to that effect.
So she bullied you. This is how I never...
She didn't... I may have said that in a way that it was bullying, but she said it like guilelessly.
Yeah.
She was just like, yeah, that's why I love to watch you walk, because it's so funny, basically.
So like an innocence.
Just an innocence. It wasn't an insult. It was just an innocence, and it was a...
This is exactly why I could never ever have done your job as a middle school teacher, because I am far too sensitive.
One time I went be sensitive.
The one time I went into her class to teach a photography class, her students were like, "You're not as cool as your mom." And I was like, bitch, she learned being cool from me. But that's not true. I am not as cool as my mom, which is exactly why I'm doing this podcast.
So, yeah. I don't get my feelings hurt very easily. I used to be kind of sensitive about my walk because I knew it was distinctive and not graceful. And like, if I had one attribute that I could have in my next life, I guess it would, this sounds so self-absorbed, which I guess it is. I guess it would be that
This is a podcast about your life.
But it sounds ridiculous. I guess it would be I'd be a little more graceful.
Yeah.
But anyway.
But also, just an aside, that you have a muscle condition.
Right.
Which is why she doesn't walk well.
Right. But I didn't know it back then.
Yeah.
So, we had a couple of rehearsals. At probably the second rehearsal, we were supposed to have mastered being able to walk out, keep your head up and your eyes on the audience, stand still at the three corners of the stage, and then when you were walking across the stage, you had to look out this way at the audience and keep a smile. So that's all too much for me.
Yeah, no.
You can give me can give me two sets of directions, and I can probably
throw in a third.
Done.
Yeah. I'm the same way.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I can follow two sets of directions.
No, me either now. No. So I'm trying to focus and concentrate, and everybody else did it fine, and I'm trying to look at the audience, and I walked right into the wall, and the pageant director could not stop laughing. And she kept apologizing. I mean, like, she's laughing like I'm a beauty pageant blooper, and she kept...
Beauty pageant blooper!
That's me.
Iconic. That's the episode name. Perfect.
So I walked right into a wall.
Oh my God.
And I think I hit my head. I don't think I got bruised, and I didn't fall down.
Like a cartoon with little birds around your head where it's like...
So I'm like... I gotta quit. How am I gonna do this? I can't do this. Who do I think I am? I'm saying this I think I was saying it maybe to my roommates back in the dorm.
Now in my head, this is how I'm imagining all of this. You're saying that right after you run into the wall to the director.
Oh no, sorry. I didn't say it to the director, but she was probably waiting for me to say it.
She's like, I hope she quits.
This poor woman.
This was the final straw, and then shockingly, it was not. I respect that. I love that about you.
Oh, my Lord.
A little walking into a wall won't stop you.
Yeah, just a minor blip in my blooper reel. Maybe not a major one, just a minor one. What was it I was saying to you off camera about how I think this was my most embarrassing moment?
Ever?
And what did you
Like,
say?
there's no way. There's no way. I have heard you tell me stories that are way more embarrassing. And not only that, furthermore, I've witnessed more embarrassing things happen to you.
So the entry that Hillary just read talks about how I've got to, practice walking?
Yeah, let me bring it back up. We can reference it. Yeah, so you have to practice walking, but you have to go, I don't remember if it's in this one, but you have to walk out on stage 10 times.
Well, that's what I wrote, but I can't alone.
10 times alone. Wait, but we can't wrap our heads around that.
No.
Why was she going out on stage alone 10 times?
See, I wrote the truth as I saw it in my diary, so there must have been, like, you would
The truth as I saw it.
The truth as I saw it.
Saw it.
So I would have gone out by myself for maybe introducing the candidates one at a time. Why do I keep saying candidates? Contestants. And then I would have gone out.
Election.
I would have gone out by myself. God, how I did that, I don't know. In a bathing suit. And then I would have
That
gone
makes
then
me
the
want
gown.
to crawl up into a ball and roll into a dark corner.
Yeah. Well, how do you think I felt?
Like a ball.
Rolling into a dark corner.
No, rolling onto a stage by accident.
Yeah.
When you meant to go to the corner.
And then I had to go out by myself for my talent with the soft music in the background.
Okay, so what was your talent?
Are we skipping to the talent?
Oh, I don't know. Sorry.
I'm telling this chronologically.
We can do whatever you want.
I think we should tell the beginning. What did we...
We're on to the bathing suits.
Was the bathing suit competition? So,
listen, I just have something to say about her. She is going to fact check the shit out of herself. And sometimes, even when she does that, she's not correct. Because do we want to bring up the Bailey Hall situation? Listen, we made this TikTok.
Really sorry.
And she claimed it was Bailey Hall at USM, but it was actually, what was it?
Russell Hall. I found out from my diary that I put out fake content, fake news.
Yeah, you put out
fake
news.
It was not Bailey Hall, it was Russell Hall.
Yeah.
So sorry. I guess I wasn't even thinking that.
Yeah, we screwed up.
Yeah, sorry.
Well, you screwed up.
I screwed up.
I don't know. I'm just here to exploit you.
I do. Thank you. Thank you. I'm enjoying that.
It would be funny if someone commented that they needed to put a plaque up for you there at Bailey Hall, and it would be even funnier that the whole time it was just actually at Russell Hall.
Yeah. So I do have this thing about, because I write a lot of stories, and they're true, and I really try for them to be, like, accurate. I always have. I mean, that's what your writer's supposed to do if they're writing nonfiction.
Totally. And I appreciate that, but when I'm making a TikTok and it's 11 p.m. and I need to know, like, a vague idea of, like, what year something happened. And she's like, hold on, I have to get out of bed. I need to go open my diaries, and I don't hear from her for 45 minutes because she needs to accurately tell me each year, even though I told her I just need to, like, from this year to this year. And she's like, nope, I'm accurately going to tell you. So for the most part, I think, like, we've been as accurate as possible.
We try. But as we alluded to in a previous episode, we are accidental liars. Yeah.
We can't help it.
But the essence is true. So first, there was the introduction of the contestants, and then I was feeling good because I was contestant number 4, and 4 is my lucky number.
Yes, yeah. That's what you wrote in your...
Yeah. So that was good. So the opening number was a song from the musical Oliver.
What? Why?
The opening number, and it was...
Can you sing it? Do you know a piece of it?
I don't remember too much of it, but it was the song Consider Yourself. Consider yourself at home. Consider yourself part of the family. Dun, 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 dun. So we had to come out to that song, and there's some wacky lyrics in it that didn't fit anything, but apparently it was supposed to show the 9 contestants united.
That sounds like the beginning. Like, this is an opening scene to a horror film.
Yeah.
And, like, all these, like, beauty pageant contestants come out to a song like that. No, thank you. That is ominous.
And we supposedly, like, we weren't, like, dancing, because there's no way. At that point, I would have had to quit.
Well, yeah, but that's also not beauty pageant style. You're just...
Right. But I do remember we kind of had to
just-
lean to the audience, you know, with our arms out.
Yeah, yeah.
And turn and blah, blah, blah. So we came out and we sang that, and then they introduced the judges and the guests.
This is the exact reason why I couldn't, when I moved to the South, when I moved to Tennessee in high school, I couldn't join the marching band because I didn't realize how intense it was. I played the flute, but I was like, there is no way I can play the flute and memorize steps. I'm out. I couldn't do it.
I know.
That was the end of flute.
Yep. Well, this was almost the end of me.
Yeah.
So right after they did that, they start with the swimsuit competition. Mm-hmm. Which is just so dated and interesting.
I do think that starting with a swimsuit would make me feel better, because it's like you're ripping the Band-Aid off in the worst.
Yeah, well, I think my Band-Aid had flown off when I walked into that wall. But so it was just a very basic black bathing suit. It was modest, no like cleavage or anything, and it was yeah, I said cleavage, and it was
No
just
falsies?
a basic
Were there
no
falsies in there?
falsies.
Yeah.
No,
there's
God help me.
Yeah, they would have been flying out.
She's referring to a previous episode.
Our first episode. Yeah.
So I'm backstage, and at the time, pantyhose. I started wearing pantyhose when I was
If you
early
said pantyhose one more time.
In my diary, I refer to them as nylons. I don't even call them pantyhose.
What happened? When did you transition from calling them nylons to pantyhose? Seems like an early 90s thing.
Anyway, we were allowed to wear nylons under our bathing suits to make our legs look, better and a little tan. I'm not exactly a golden tan type of girl. Well, I'm not a girl, but...
What?
Well, I'm a woman. Okay, we're moving on. So,
I'm not a girl, not yet a woman.
No, I said I'm a woman.
I know, but I'm quoting Britney Spears.
God,
get it together.
All right. Man, it's taken me a long time to get on that stage.
I know, Jesus Christ, let's go.
So, I am backstage, and I've got my pantyhose on, and my nylons, and most nylons back then, when you put them on, they had a reinforced in the stomach and thigh area, and it was a darker color material that went partway down your thighs. And so it was there for a good purpose, obviously. But
it's like built-in shapewear, kind of.
Right,
yeah.
right. That's a good way to describe
it.
So, but for this, I needed to have sheer nylons all the way up, because it would look pretty ridiculous to come out with multicolored legs. So I'm backstage, and
I get what you're saying. I'm like, multicolored legs.
The top part darker than the bottom part.
Yes.
So I'm back there, and like contestant number 1 is out there, and I'm pretty well set. And I reached down to tug part of my nylons, and one of my red fingernails attacked my nylons, and a run started racing up toward my thigh. And I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, that's the worst feeling.
But sometimes I'm more organized than I ever see myself as, and I had brought a backup pair.
You did?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I had brought a backup pair. So we thought, I don't know why I'm saying we, it was me.
You and the lady that lives in your head.
Yeah, the lady that lives in my head that's saying, get the heck out of here fast. Do not go on that stage. So I'm back. It's in the dark, and I'm not graceful or coordinated, and I'm trying, it's a one-piece bathing suit. I got to pull it down, rip off the pantyhose, and pull on the next set of pantyhose. And they were like on contestant number 3. So I've got maybe 3 or 4 minutes before I'm going out on the stage. And so I carefully pull them up from the ankles so I don't make any run in them, and that's good. And then just before they're going to call me out, I give a final tug up by the crotch of the pantyhose just to, pull it up and be comfortable.
You gotta zhuzh it. Yeah.
What's that mean?
Zhuzh. Like, zhuzh.
Okay. I don't think
you
I
just
know
slightly move something to fix it.
Oh.
You zhuzh it.
Okay. All right.
I think that's a Jonathan Van Ness coined term.
Okay. Maybe. So I gave it one final tug just before I was going to go out on the stage. And
the final tug.
It split on both sides of my inner thighs. I mean, the pantyhose just, and I am about to go on stage, and I'm pulling down the bottom of my bathing suit, which was pulling down obviously the top of my bathing suit, and I'm like fixing the straps and quivering, and I wrote in my diary that nobody seemed to care. Well, of course they're backstage and they're all probably petrified too. So
nobody seemed to care.
I did write in my diary as well but I understood that. So then they say our next contestant is Lynn Bonzi. Lynn Bonzi is, and I am thinking, about to drop dead. That's what I heard in my head. So I walk out, and first you have to go down to the right corner and then the middle corner, and then you have to stand there while they peruse you and score you, which is so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so I start walking down to the right-hand side of the stage. My legs are quivering, and with every single step, my inner thighs were ripping more. Not my inner thighs, but the pantyhose were ripping. So I'm like, and people could see. I mean,
I guess their eye level would be at your legs.
It was, because when you stand down at the end and you think about the people in the front, you couldn't miss it. And it's like a big floodlight. I am dying. I cannot imagine that this
your
is
pantyhose are ripping, but so isn't your pride.
Yes.
Slowly.
Like, oh my God. I'm in front of what I wrote in my diary was 200 people.
200? Wow.
That's what I wrote. I don't know if I surely didn't count them.
Yeah, no.
Whatever. I wrote it.
Yeah.
And, all the fraternities and sororities, there were I think there were 3 main fraternities and 2 sororities on campus. Yeah. And so those would have been the bulk of the people that were there, supporting their contestants. And then maybe some other people. I am so fortunate that nobody from my family was there. And I say that because they went to everything we were in when we were growing up, but they were unavailable. It was school vacation week, and they had other plans. So nobody in my family witnessed this.
Yeah, because you really wouldn't have. There might not be this lightheartedness around it if you've been harassed about it your entire life.
Yeah. So I somehow managed to go to the 3 parts of the stage and to get backstage. I don't know how I did it, but I managed it. And the next thing was the talent competition.
Mm-hmm. This is my. We got a little taste of this on TikTok, and I'm excited to hear the whole thing.
So for whatever reason, I think I've said that before today. For whatever reason, I thought it was a good idea to do my own poetry as a talent. Really, it had to be a good idea because there's absolutely no other talent that I had. I mean, what other talent would I do?
I don't know. I didn't know you then. Flirt?
That sounded fake. Maybe a stand-up comedy routine I could have done. But
You probably could have.
But and actually, what am I saying? That's what I accidentally ended up doing.
Yeah, that's true. An unintentional stand-up. Accidental stand-up.
Yeah. So, I now know that my intent, and I'm not sure if this happened, but my intent was that sorry, I keep forgetting to talk into the mic. My intent was that I have soft music playing in the background.
I mean, I kind of understand that. I think I'd want a distraction from the poem. Or like I guess it's adding to the dramatics of the poem.
I guess so.
Because the poem is extremely dramatic. Are you going to read it for us?
If I am, I need to get a copy of it in my bag. Am I reading it now? I'm sorry, I'm ill-prepared.
Ill-prepared? Well, yeah,
or
you
are
need
we just talking about it?
No, you need to read the poem. Do we want to record it after so we can add it to the end of the episode? So
Let's do that.
Okay.
But I will tell you the first few lines.
Yeah.
So, it was called, I titled it Every Man's Song. And this is how it went at the beginning. Now imagine, I've already done the bathing suit competition and just totally embarrassed myself. I'm standing there and I think I was already probably in my evening gown. I don't know what I was wearing. But that
would be a spoiler.
Yeah, that would be a spoiler alert. Well, I don't know what I wore. But I know I was just like standing there.
I hope you weren't in your swimsuit. Actually, I kind of hope you were. With your ripped nylons. That kind of like makes sense with the poem, I think.
So I'm standing there with soft music in the background, and these are the first few lines of the poem, which you can hear in its entirety, apparently at the end of this episode.
Yes.
Scream to death your sorrows. No one listens anymore. They see themselves in themselves. That's all I remember. Thank you.
Good job. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It was beautiful and emo.
It was loud.
Yeah, it was loud just now.
It was loud and direct and ridiculous. I mean, I don't have to say it was ridiculous.
I think that just explains you as a person.
Loud and direct and ridiculous. I think I caught to that.
Yeah.
I think I do.
Yeah. I knew you would.
So, I really don't... I had memorized the whole poem, and my biggest concern was that I'd forget it. But apparently I didn't forget it. I didn't note that I did, so... And I still remember the first 3 lines.
Have you always remembered those lines?
Oh, yes.
Because, so when we made these TikToks, no plan. I just thought it would be funny for her to be deadpan and just do exactly what... Are you taking a coffee break?
Sorry.
We didn't do our cheers good morning yet. Good morning. But, what was I saying?
No idea.
Okay, back to the beauty pageant. When we were making our first TikToks and we just like did it so quick and on a whim, and you did just pull that poem out of nowhere and just shook me to my core. She's purposely not telling me anything because I don't want to, I want to know. I want to like find out with you guys.
We kind of try to do this as a surprise to each other, and
yeah,
we don't have a plan.
No,
particularly.
Can you tell?
So, after that was the evening gown competition. Now, the funny thing, this was, I don't know if we've said this, but this was the actual official preliminary contest to the Miss America Pageant.
Maybe I'll just read the front, which if you're watching on YouTube, you can see the pamphlet. I'll post pictures of this on Instagram on my mother's diaries so you can read through because it is a good read.
Yeah,
I highly recommend it. It's absolutely ridiculous. So it says, "You could be Miss America. The local pageant is your first step to the title." So it's this like woman holding a bouquet with a crown on and a big gown. Would you say this is from the 70s?
Yeah, 1971 copyright.
Is she a real person? Her face...
As real as the Miss America's
Doesn't her face look like AI generated? That's crazy. Imagine being so beautiful that you look like you were made from AI.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
I think probably some of our listeners, well, no, they're just listeners that can't see me, but
Don't ruin the illusion. We
Okay.
are gorgeous. We are AI generated.
automatic idiots.
Yeah. What? That's how we were generated? So you just called you and I was generated by two automatic idiots. You and my dad.
Oh. So then they have the not the swimsuit, the evening gown competition, and I had borrowed an evening gown from someone. I think it was a past Miss Maine contestant or whatever. I didn't own an evening gown.
Yeah.
Probably most people didn't own evening gowns. And
Actually, I own an evening gown.
you do?
I think I had a couple.
Yeah, you probably
But they're
do.
actually from, I think they were Annie's or yours from the 70s. So I know only your evening gowns.
Right. So, but the thing is it says in that booklet, they're not judging the evening gown.
See, that's the only reason I would do it, because I know I could find a cool evening gown. But if you're
Right.
not judging the actual
They're
gown,
judging your poise in the evening gown.
yeah, then I'm out.
Poise.
Poise.
Poison. That's what it was like. Poison. But no, sorry, bad joke. So, I did.
I'm gonna name my son Poi. Poi
We
son.
might have to edit that out.
No, we're not doing it. We're going for it.
We're going too far out. So I did the evening gown competition.
Okay, well I'm keeping this in because I like those jokes.
So we did the evening competition, which I'm saying for the 53rd time. And I don't think anything went wrong. And Hillary did ask me earlier, did I still have my pantyhose on underneath it? And I must have, because there's no way I would have been walking in shoes without my nylons keeping my toes safe. Or some such nonsense.
Oh God, I keep jiggling your iced coffee. Whew.
And
Nylons keep your toes safe, and that's all I've learned from this episode.
so then they did the final walk of the current Miss Portland Gorham, the 1972.
Pogo, say it right.
Well, no, it wasn't Pogo at that point. I think it was called Portland. I don't know.
I like it as Pogo.
Yep. And
Pogo.
then they had announcement of the finalists. And
I'm sweating.
Although-
Was it you?
although I had a 1 in 9 chance. Believe it or not, I was not among the finalists.
Okay, but I don't believe that.
I know.
For a second. But did they give you like a ranking 1 to 9? Like I
God.
wish I knew where you landed.
Well, you know where I landed.
Well, I don't know. One of these beauty pageant contestants out there could be making another podcast about their embarrassing version.
They
of this.
could.
And if you were at this beauty pageant, please
we
reach out. I
We
want
need
to.
more details.
I want to hear your side. I want to know what you witnessed that night.
Yeah. So, many years later, probably a decade later, my new vice principal I met, and he had graduated from.
Where you were teaching,
Where I
not
was
where you
teaching,
were
right.
going to
Right.
back. You didn't
Right.
go back to school
Where-
like Billy Madison.
No, I was teaching middle school, and he had gone to Portland Gorham as well in the same time frame, and so I didn't really remember him, and he told me what fraternity he was from, Phi Mu Delta, and I'm like, oh, you don't remember when I was a contestant sponsored by Phi Mu Delta, do you? And he's like, oh yes I do. Oh,
Wouldn't you love
I
to
was
hear
dying.
their conversation afterwards
I know.
of the contestant they chose and how they probably saw you on campus after and would talk about it? There goes the Pogo beauty blooper. Oh God.
So then they announced the final, and we were all out. Oh, I left out a really important part. I can't believe I left out like one of the most embarrassing things.
What?
There were so many embarrassing things that it's hard to remember them all. during the evening gown competition, we came out separately and we all did the 3-corner silly thing, and my legs are shaking, but at least you couldn't see the inner thighs like you could with a bathing suit, like jiggling. So we did that, and then we're all in a line facing the audience, and we had practiced this.
Yeah. I can picture all of this in my head.
And we had practiced it. And there was an MC. I don't know who the MC was, but there was an MC. Okay. It was a woman. I'm not going to say her name. She might be embarrassed to be associated with this.
If you were the MC, reach out so we can name drop you.
So the MC says, we're all facing the audience. Quarter turn to the right, please. Now. And on now, we're supposed to turn. And so everybody turned right except me. I turned left. And then when I turned left, I was face to face with the person who had turned right, and she turned around, which kind of had a domino effect. And so we're all like,
you brought her down with you.
I brought her down and a couple other people.
Oh no!
And the whole audience is laughing. I can just imagine the visual of that. I mean,
my god.
The whole audience.
I wish I was there to witness all of this, or I wish there was like some sort of video of it, but I feel like I was there just through this story. I was in the audience, loving every part of this disaster. Loving it.
So when it came to the final, when they were going to announce, they announced the final winner. I think they got it down to 2 finalists. I mean, they couldn't have had 5 finalists out of 9, so I think they were down to like 2 finalists.
Yeah.
And they announced the winner, and so we all stand up, and I tripped on my gown when I stood up.
When you stood up, did you fall back down?
I didn't fall back down, but I just like stumbled. I think I stepped on the bottom, and I'm like, get me out of here. Get me out of here now. And my mind's a little blank after that. I went back to the dormitory, and my roommate who had been at the performance and who was a sorority sister just looked at me and goes, "Oh, Lynn."
No further comment needed.
Right. I was like,
I bet you got a good night's sleep.
oh yeah, wonderful night's sleep. I didn't stay at the dorm. Because my parents were away, they'd given me one of their cars to use. And so I got in the car.
You booked it?
And I had
You ran away.
I ran away. My hair was teased way up.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know, because we have one little picture in the newspaper clipping. But
Yeah.
my hair was teased way up, and I had a lot of makeup on, including what wasn't really common that time, except maybe for beauty pageants, false eyelashes.
Yeah.
Which I definitely did not apply myself, because I don't
No
have hand-eye
way.
coordination.
Yeah.
But they were false eyelashes and makeup and probably red lipstick smeared on my face. And
We're doing that to you. We're gonna we're gonna doll you up for the TikTok. We're gonna tease your hair all up.
that sounds
Put
good.
some lipstick, some false eyelashes.
As long as I don't have to wear a black bathing suit with pantyhose underneath
don't.
or nylons.
I won't make you do that part.
So I go back to my house, which was like a 40-minute, half-hour drive, but probably a half-hour drive, and go in the house and don't take off any makeup. Don't take off my false eyelashes. Just flop into bed. Just like, I have got to get to sleep and forget everything that just happened to me.
You are a flopper.
I'm a flopper.
Yeah, she literally flops into bed.
Yeah.
You're a flopper and a plopper. Last night I took my dog outside and I just heard her plop down to sit. I heard her from outside. It's just like...
So this flopper and plopper flopped and plopped into her little single bed in her bedroom. Now, and please remember, although I hate to, I was 20 at this time. You know, when my mother was 20, she had me as a 1 year. I was 1 year old. You know,
Two, right? Wasn't she 18?
No, 19. When she had
Okay,
me.
okay.
So, you know, I was a little immature.
Yeah, well, you didn't have me till you were how old? 36?
Basically almost 37.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well, it took her a while longer.
yeah, it took me a little bit to grow up. We're still hoping. Yeah.
I relate.
Yeah. So I went to bed.
Oh my
And-
god. I would have done the same thing. If I had access to home.
Yeah. I just
Gone.
wanted to be alone. I didn't want to face anybody, especially somebody going, "Oh, Lynn."
So, do you have a diary entry from after, post?
Let's see. Good point.
Because I'd love to read that.
I do. Let's see. I must have, but I don't think it's here. I thought I had them all written down.
Oh, wait, okay, can I read though? You did write one, so she wrote one after the... she wrote one after the practice run where she ran into the wall. Can I read that one?
Yeah.
Okay. This is the same day as the one I read before, but it's at 1 a.m. right after the practice. April 17th, 1 a.m. I have never been this nervous about anything as I am about this pageant after rehearsal and during. Oh God, it was awful. Naturally, couldn't do a damn thing right tonight. My legs shook so badly, and we were only rehearsing. What a first-class klutz. You'll never have the privilege of seeing me in action and to laugh at me. The director kept apologizing for laughing at me, and I kept saying, that's okay, as a lump welled up in my throat. As far as shaking goes, forget it. I have absolutely the worst set of nerves around. I was going to quit. Stomach in, buttocks in, head up, legs together, quarter turn to the right, smile. How am I going to smile? Jesus. We have to look at the audience while we're walking. I'll croak. No, I'll probably fall off the stage. I was even nervous during my poem, which I didn't think I would be. My legs were shaking so badly that I just couldn't put the feeling into it that I needed. Oh God. Oh God. To have it be 48 hours from now, even by writing, I can't express the mental anguish I go through when I'm out there on that stage. You couldn't put the feeling into it that you needed.
Into the poem.
Little did you know you'd have a daughter, and how many years later, you'd be putting all the feeling, all the feeling into that poem to have 1 million people view it.
I know. Crazy.
Wow, that is so crazy. I love it.
Oh my God.
Okay, I won't read this full entry, but you do have the morning of. She wrote, April 18th, 9:15 a.m. This is it. Doomsday.
So I knew.
Oh my God.
You
Wait,
know,
okay, I need to can I read this actually?
Yeah.
This is it. Doomsday. I'm so scared you can't imagine how I feel. I'm petrified. Oh my God. I've never been so scared in my whole life. I would give anything to have this pageant over. I have some humorous sidelights to relate. As you walk off the stage, you have to keep your eyes on the audience. I walked into a wall. Mom told me to call if I win. She was only half serious.
Yeah, she was in Spain.
I don't have to worry anyhow. I'm not half graceful enough. I have to step on that stage all alone 10 times. I only had 4.5 hours of sleep last night. 11:58 p.m.
I don't know. Are you going to read that part?
Can I read it?
I guess so.
Wait, are you nervous?
Yeah, you can read it.
Okay. You do realize this is the concept of the podcast. To read your diary. 8:58 p.m. I want you to know that hell cannot possibly be any worse than what I went through tonight. Oh my God, it was terrible. You would not believe what I did in front of at least 50% of the Coram campus. Quarter turned to the right. Now, I turned left. It was the most embarrassing, mortifying, awful thing that could have ever happened. There's more to the story, but not now. I'm so tired. I'm never going to be able to face another Phi Mu Delta again. Wow.
There's a lot to unpack.
You weren't dramatic at all. I love this. There's a lot to unpack.
So, there was something I was thinking that I needed to add. Oh, so I didn't finish telling the story of the next morning.
No, sorry,
So
I'm reading into her diary some more, but I think we pretty much got into all of that.
I think we got the juicy stuff. So I got up in the morning because there was a knock at the door. And, I probably had one eyelash askew. My eyes were definitely black, like a raccoon's eyes of some sort. My hair was not combed. It was all teased. And I went to the door and there was a man standing there. Back then, somebody knocks on your door, you open it. I wasn't scared or anything. And it probably was mid-morning because I was thinking I'm going to sleep as long as I can sleep. And there's a man standing there in a suit, middle-aged guy. And he was selling cemetery plots.
Do you remember what he said?
No, but I remember that I kind of laughed or said something like, well, looking at me, I think I'm about to need one or something like that. Something I would have said like that.
Yeah.
And no, I did not buy one, but it was just so...
You didn't?
No.
I love that you went home, to get away, because you were like, I'm gonna die. This is the worst night of my life. And then someone shows up at your house to be like, yeah, you're right. You should just start planning your funeral. Start planning your funeral now. It's over. Oh my God. Just amazing. I love it. I love that story so much.
Yeah, and it was... it was all good. And I do want to say, if we're getting close to ending this, that just a disclaimer, I was really upset. And on a lot of these things, people feel sorry for me. Do not feel sorry for me on any of these events that we're telling, unless we suddenly go into serious mode.
But it's like a young girl's diary.
Right.
It's just all dramatic.
Right.
And...
young girl who was 20.
Yeah. This is like the other episode when I was like, oh, classic parent. And you were like, to Ozzy being annoyed with you, and who's her dad, my grandfather. And you were like, I was 40.
I know.
The thing about our family is we'll never grow up. No,
So.
we won't. Well, that was amazing. Thank you so much. And we're going to add the recording of the...
of the poem.
Of the poem to the end of this episode, because it is just absolutely...
I hope you're going to add some soft music.
Oh, of course. Of course. I'll let you pick the soft music, too.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much.
Like and subscribe, right? Is that what we have to say?
Like and subscribe.
Like it, subscribe it.
I don't know why we're whispering again all of a sudden.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Scream to death your sorrows. Every man's song. Scream to death your sorrows. No one listens anymore. They see themselves in themselves, not in obvious mirrors of their brothers. They crack each other. No reason, really. Gastric acid bothers some. Others turn and laugh till they become infected. All lay low and flat, with the exception of a few bulging bellies. No one has the time. No one knows the time. The race is on. Cheating is allowed. It's their way of life. Some ask, where is the God? The remaining shrug and run away. Broken charge plates glitter from littered gutters. Torn documents clarify nothing, as usual. Freedom rings, Sinatra sings, and no one understands anymore, no wants to, for fear of facing reality. Ancient apathy leads all to non-action. Horrors pass in 50-year-old parades with dead drummers leading the bands. Constant, cold sweat dribbles down distorted visages. They know this can't be hell. It's too lucid for that. The funny thing is, they've been told there is no heaven.